conference from the media. National Organizer, Director of Communication, National Officers present, the Constituency Chairman for Sunyani East, other officers who have come from the Bono region. We have invited you here this morning to let through you, the good people of Ghana, get to know of certain unpleasant, whimsical, and unconscionable developments going on under this government. If you all recall, somewhere in 2025, to be specific, in the early days of this government, when they were through Rambo Stalin, arresting, detaining, and arbitrarily arraigning members of our party before some kangaroo courts, we came to you. And at that point, I remember that we were not calling on the media, we were not calling on CSOs, we were not calling the clergy to come to the defense of the New Patriotic Party, but rather to let you all be aware of what the NDC were doing, setting our constitution, the respect for rule of law, the respect for the liberty, the respect for the right to freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and to send a signal to them that no conditions is permanent. And definitely one day the table will turn. And we didn't want a situation whereby the table will turn and the same group of people, the media, the CSOs, the clergy, will come to NPP government and ask why these things are happening. Fast forward to 2026. The NDC has been in government for over a year now. And it seems that their modus operandi has always been that when there are serious issues in the country that tends to affect the government, they always tend to indulge in diversionary tactics so that they can escape or tone down the discussion on those happenings in that particular moment. Ladies and gentlemen, it is for a good reason that the framers of the 1992 Constitution captured succinctly in Chapter 5 of our Constitution, which deals with fundamental human rights and freedom of each citizen. Indeed, it is captured in Article 21, where the Constitution talks about the right to freedom of speech and freedom of expression. President Mahama and the NDC want to return Ghana to the dark days of culture of silence, whereby through state apparatus, the president and his government arbitrarily, whimsical, and capriciously detain people perceived to be fierce critics of the government. We have witnessed a situation whereby several people expressing their views, their sentiments about certain ill activities and certain decisions undertaken by this government have been arrested, detained, and sent to some courts. Indeed, today we've called you here, a national organizer. After I'm done with my speech, will come and take us through and give us details of how an officer of our party, Baba Mando, who happens to be the communication officer for Sunyani East, was arbitrarily arrested, detained by the police without even being told of the reason why he was arrested or detained, and the subsequent matters that happened. Let it be on record that the NDC government led by President Mahama has become so intolerable to the extent that it does not welcome divergence or criticism of its government. President Mahama seems to have forgotten that Ghana is operating under a constitutional rule. We are operating under a constitutional rule. In the days of His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Vice President Bawumia, they were subjected to several forms of unpalatable, unprintable, denigrating, and derogatory remarks. Various attacks from the NDC rank and file, including President Mahama, then candidate Mahama, to the extent that some were even referring to His Excellency Akufo-Addo as a useless person, a useless government. Several attacks, and I'm sure that when I'm done with my statement, our IT team will project to you certain utterances from the then opposition members of the NDC and the worst thing that they said against Akufo-Addo's government. But our government was tolerant because we understand that we are being governed by the Constitution and rule of law. And therefore, as the Constitution guarantees the right to freedom of expression and freedom to speak, certainly there are bound to be some excesses. It goes with our constitutional dictates that so far as you decide to go on the constitutional rule, people are at liberty to speak and make their expression, no matter how you may feel uncomfortable with it. Indeed, under the reign of His Excellency John Mahama, several Ghanaians have been detained, have been arrested, and have been arraigned before certain courts in this country. Notably among them, Santoaba Kwame, Fanti Komedi, Prophet Jima William, Elohim International Ministry, Adenta Kumi, Fawaz, Achimkwanana, AY, and host of others. And their crime has been because they have been fierce critics of the government. Again, several of our members have been, through rumble style, arrested, detained, and arraigned before court without even proper procedure. Notably, Chairman Wuntumi, Honorable Kofi Juma, Honorable Osei Sibe, Provincial Hanan, and host of others. Ladies and gentlemen from the media, we want the NDC to understand, and I'll re-echo what I said in 2025, that no condition is permanent, and the table will turn in 2029. And we are sending this information to you, the media, that you need to speak up. You are the fourth realm of the estate. And it's your duty to make sure that our constitution is protected. But if you look wayward and decide to adopt that attitude of see no evil, speak no evil, and hear no evil, when the tables turn, don't come and pretend. At the end of the day, we are all one people. We have all agreed that as a country, we don't want to live under the dictatorial rule, but under the constitutional rule and rule of law. And the NDC must respect our constitution. It is sad that the IGP Yowonu has created an office whose duty is just to be coming around social media to identify people who criticize the government. And in midnight, early hours, will go and arrest these people to such an extent that even where the Constitution says that when a person is arrested, detained, or restricted, it must be communicated immediately to the person his crime. But in most cases, they don't. Meanwhile, we have people in NDC who on every day attack personalities in NPP, previous ministers in NPP, but IGP Onu don't see those people. The only people that he sees are those who criticize the government. It's a shame for us as a country, and it's a shame to his office as IGP of this republic. Yes, he might have been appointed by the NDC, but at least he must also have conscience and conviction and exhibit high level of professionalism in your daily activities as a man in uniform. And some judges have turned themselves into remand judges. The only thing that they do is to remind people of opponents who criticize this government. And it is a shame to the bench also that judges who are supposed to be custodians and conscience of our rule of law to protect the vulnerable have now become NDC even more than the NDC people. And it's a shame. We don't need remand judges in Ghana. We don't need judges who think that their duty is only to be remanding opponents of the government. At least they must protect that institution called justice, called judiciary, the protector of the vulnerable in the society. And ladies and gentlemen, as I indicated to you, we have come to you this morning to let the good people of Ghana know what the NDC is doing. And let them understand that if they know the reality on the ground, they will start behaving. If they know how angry Ghanaians are with the disappointment that they have about this government, the promises that they made to Ghanaians when they were in opposition, the promises to create jobs for good people of Ghana, the promises to pass the LGBTQ bill within 3 months, the promises to increase the price of cocoa, the promises to improve the living conditions of Ghanaians, and they disappointing Ghanaians and pretending that all is well. 2029 will come, and the day of reckoning will also come. So they should be aware that whatever they do, when the tables turn, they shall suffer the consequences thereof. Thank you very much. Enyanom ene adofo a yehye mu wa ha. Ene ya fremo aba ya soe ha ne asem etitia. Mbekaya ebra NDC aban efa Ghana kunya kese after 7 January 2025. Omo shase empenifo a na omo wo abanda dem NPP abanda dem NPP fo mpenifo so metata omo yonkofo a said the Ghana mra no yegitum se yede mra be ye adwuma no security apparatus omo mem ha eyo madwen so mo fa nya adwuma ebra constitution ka or chapter 5 of our constitution say nipa bia sabi obechi no obediteni no o ma ne nko ba bia no che na de kro a waye ansa kra na nipa kro no sabi o de be kwa abanku kuma de nako na se obechi na so wachi no sa no ma we nyina akọ so ebi to chema wontumi ebi to hanam o sesi be gift o ware eni nkofo bebre emrante ne maba waso no mo fi se no ma ekoso abemu anye esu nyakukuduru kasai omo so omo kasa wi a na ye Rajab onu office o ofo bi a wafo omo se omo de omo adwuma ne se omo nko social media obi obekasa eti aban ne bia mo mfre no na mo nche no ema nkofre yem nante bebre bi ti se asanto aba kwame se Obama Fawaz AY adenta kumi mu nyina no ekwan ya aban ne fa so di temu omo ebi yedom call remand. The share mo catch mo say no man na ekoso no. NPP MSA enka say munka bi maye. Na mum ye catch mo abom kokko say emre wo hi ye ninka so. Na say bi ebre bi du na aban sesa. Na de NDC for yakayaka de omo ye NPP for no. Se duro ni yeso eyo mu bia. Mo bia meye no saint. E me kan che say ade na bebi say ekoso. Oye no fruwa, e say NDC aban se kan ye nie. Sa suban na omuda na de ebra omuba aban mu no. Ne ka so ma ba foforo nti say de omasesa. Sa suban na NDC for da so wom. Ebra bia asem kase ebesu o mam ye fa aban no ho. Na aban na nim gu ase no. Na so omuye bibi e betwe Ghana fo adwene afiri so. Ene LGBTQ wasem ati aban ne share board bra no opposition so oba within 3 months on be pass sa emra no. Ene Ghana fo busa na o ma peni mama se nya de ehia sesi. Asem aba asofofo ka ho asem Ghana fo ka ho asem obi a che ne ho adwene no. Aban ne pese yi Ghana fo adwene free so nti sa de a ye be chechi opponents fo ye no abe news. Eno NPP yes our friend central phobia. Ya branch ba ko friend Baba Mando or your communication officer o Sunyan East. E kwanya NDC for yera yewonu enam so ma na nemnante e kwache no. E bre ade call court and send me si so. A sabi e tiamra a enya de papa no. Yes aba monim biem ama mahu kwanya NDC abade no mafa so. Na me fa sa akwa wo so abo yera IGP kokko. Say yenim se o mampeni maama na yi no. Nanso so won ka hu se atade ehye no se be buo ni di wom. To no ma bia ne nkrofo ye a wonim pefe se emfa mra kwa mu enye papa no. Eni kwa so. Se bi on nkrofo mo ti social media omo twa NPP penifo adapa. Omo didi ye raba omnyam atem. Omo didi NPP fo penifo ye rakufo adu atem. Ye ra IGP wonu ohun ya na. Ena aseme ye kan se Sabi ye were judges for be ha. Omu kra de omu ye NDC for class NDC for. Ah they say no ma from remand judges. De madwuma ne se NDC for chi obi a de do ma koma omu. No ma omu remand 1 week, 2 weeks. Ebra kra prosecution for kra nka say ye remand nkofo no. Judges na aka say ye be remand omu. Eno sa ngwase a sabi ekoso ewo ye judicial ho no. Eno na you raba for money. Yes, you catch us say yes. Ghana sabi ene soja ban enye tiso. Kamiman ka bia memmo ne wo so. Na said ye na nam judges for be ye adwuma ma ne ye fa e de Ghana bedu ba bia wo no. The judges for ni bi ye no. E gu adwuma ne animas. Eti na ye hia mo a na ya sem ye titia. The samre no metro men South National Organizer. No, a detailed chronology of how ye nua Baba Mando or moche na ya remind no. Medamu nyina amase.
Bawumia and Napo is a vote for homosexuality, is a vote for comprehensive sexuality education, and Ghanaians say no to true.
Such a powerful
Bawumia and Napo is a vote for homosexuality, is a vote for comprehensive sexuality education, and Ghanaians say no to true. Bawumia and Napo is a vote for homosexuality, is a vote for comprehensive sexuality education, and Ghanaians say no to
the two of us.
What do you mean by that?
He stayed and grew up with a homosexual. Mr. Akufo-Addo grew up with the first son of his uncle, J.B. Dankwa, who was called Paul Dankwa. Paul Dankwa was a renowned homosexual who got married to Peter Pollock. They lived together, and the entire world knew that Akufo-Addo's nephew was homosexual. No, I'm coming. I'll land on this point. And so I think, let me make this point. And so can you allow me?
No.
So I think that, so I'm landing on this. Let me land on this. So I think that if there's any man, look, hold on, if there's any man to know more about homosexuality, like Akufo-Addo stated on the Al Jazeera interview, that growing up in the UK, he saw people, virtually advocating for it and what have you. There was calls for action. And that is why he's waiting to see same in this country. And that if
he's the same man who is stating that it is not under his watch.
Why did he say that? He stated that to an Anglican church. Anytime he appears locally, he becomes a local champion. 3 weeks after he said that, he told Kamala Harris that there is no force in this country pushing against homosexuality. He told her. He told her the Black Star Square. Few months when he was granted an international interview, before then, he said it was bound to happen.
And the screen now is a position of Virginia Palmer. And that is the U.S. government.
And I'm telling you,
we should be worried, shouldn't we?
Rwanda wasn't worried. Rwanda took steps to protect their sovereignty. Why is Mr. Akufo-Addo not worried about what the chief imam is saying? Why is Alhaji Bawumia not worried about what the Pentecost pastor you quoted was saying? Why are they not worried about what the Anglican church is saying? Why are they not worried about what Lighthouse Chapel is saying? Why are they not worried about what me, my brother?
We have invited you here to address some politically motivated arrests. And it's sad, but that is why I'm actually in red. And also unwarranted prosecution of NPP communicators. Yesterday, what happened in court is a clear case of when a judge assumes or replaces a prosecutor and execute orders from above. A judge who is supposed to be an independent arbiter. Ladies and gentlemen, the arrest and remand of Baba Mando is a state-sponsored political abduction disguised as law enforcement. Ladies and gentlemen, we condemn the abuse of judicial power to criminalize free speech and oppress dissent. And let me give you the facts. Baba Mando is the communications officer for the New Patriotic Party in the Sunyani East constituency. And just this weekend, we went for a funeral, myself, General Secretary, and a host of other party people. Baba Mando was present. And he mentioned to the General Secretary and my good self that he's been invited by Ghana Police he's been invited by the Regional Police Command in Bono region. He was not told of the particulars of this invitation. Then General Secretary directed that I call the former Deputy Attorney General, Honorable Tia, Yabua Tia. I did so. So Monday, 13th April 2026, he went with Lawyer Tia. And just when he went there, interestingly, the police command in the Bono region said they did not know anything. They have no idea. They don't have any clue of such an invitation. In fact, they were even surprised. Their constituency chairman accompanied them, the deputy organizer, a host of party executives in the region accompanied Baba Mando. So they were there for a couple of minutes. The police insisted that they have not invited him. They don't know anything about it. Then just when they were leaving the premises, then the police rushed, came back, called them, and then they said that, they have been given some directives from above. And that he is not actually needed in Bono region, but he is rather needed in Accra. So the orders are that they must arrest him. They arrested him without mentioning the charges or reasons for his arrest to him. And they just bundled him into a car. And for 8 hours, they drove from Sunyane to Greater Accra. Ladies and gentlemen, when myself again, we had a meeting here, General Secretary directed that I go and meet them up. So I was there. He was granted bail. In fact, the Honorable Minority Leader signed the bail bond, and he stood surety for Baba Mando. He was then told to report the following day at 10 a.m. He is law-abiding. So guess what he did? As early as 8 a.m., he was at the premises, and he called me. Yet, upon reporting as directed, Baba Mando was not released. He was then told that there is a different directive. There is a different order from above for him to be rearrested and processed for court. He was bundled to court not on the strength of new evidence, not on the independent judgment of the police, but because a supposed order from above that he should be taken to court 9. What is at this court 9? You recall that this animal farm ruling, you recall, this Idi Amin ruling, it was the same court 9. This is not policing. This is political victimization and harassment using state institution. Friends in the media, in court, I was present, I was there. The perversion and aberration of justice continued. It is instructive to note that the prosecutor, and this is very important, the prosecutor did not oppose to our application for bail. In fact, lawyers representing the accused Baba Mando were the minority leader himself, Osahene Afenyomaken, and MP for Mensha South, Nana Ajay-Bafwewa. Again, let me repeat, the prosecutor did not oppose our bail application. Also, the prosecutor did not apply for a remand. There was no application of remand from the prosecutor, nothing. After charging Baba Mando with the offense of publishing false news under the guise of posting an AI-generated image of some ministers of state clothed in LGBTQ attire, the court records will show this. Baba Mando's lawyers, I've mentioned, Honorable Afenyomaken and Nana Ajay-Bafwewa, argued extensively and cogently why the judge should grant bail. They demonstrated that with evidence. Despite this, the judge, Justice Joseph Kunsun, Justice Joseph Kunsun, Justice Joseph Kunsun of Circuit Court 9, the same Circuit Court again, the Animal Farm Court, the Idi Amin Court, abandoned his constitutional role as a neutral arbiter under Article 1251 of 1992 Constitution. The judge descended into the arena, assuming the role of a prosecutor. And I was so sad. Just when lawyers for the accused had made strong argument, put in the application for bail, the prosecution did not oppose. They did not put in any application for remand. Yet, Justice Joseph Kunsun was asking leading questions. So, prosecutors, do you need him for investigation? How long are you going to finish your investigation? And the prosecution was so clear, they said that, oh, because you see, the day before, they had granted him bail. If the police needed him for further investigation, they had the 48-hour window to operate within. However, they granted him bail, but the judge was asking them, so you need him, with the intent that, so I should what? Incarcerate him. I should put him on remand so that you need him. They said, in fact, they did not even put any application. Yet, Justice Joseph Kunsun, you could see that he had a predetermined mind. He had a political mind. And unjustifiably remanded Baba Mando to reappear on the 20th. Under the guise of interfering police investigation. This is even more absurd. The police arrested him from Sunyani. They brought him all the way from Sunyani to Accra. The police in their minds did not say that they needed him for further investigation. But the court in his ruling, the judge, Justice Joseph Kunsu, in his ruling, he is thinking for the prosecution. And he's telling the prosecution that, hey, even though you don't need this guy for your investigation, I will still remand him because you did him. That's exactly what he did. That is exactly what the Justice Joseph Kunsun did. We call out this judge for exercising judicial discretion with politics, not law. Ladies and gentlemen, it may be recalled that it is this same Circuit Court 9 that came up under the intense public criticisms of the infamous Abronya Animal Farm case and Idi Amin, a whole judge quoting, celebrating Idi Amin in Ghana's Republic. Ghana's Republic. And also making references to Animal Farm. And again, I've mentioned, if the police was fortified by their evidence that the accused person was in position to tamper with their investigation, they would not have granted him police bail in the first place. Also, the police would have moved an application for the suspect to be remanded into custody for the fear of tampering with investigation. These undeniable facts contradict the judge's assessment of the facts and render same entirely flawed and not grounded on law and common sense. And honestly, I was surprised. In fact, at a time when even lawyers for the accused had wanted to point out something, the judge said, I've finished my case. You can go on appeal. Unperturbed, predetermined mind. He came with his own agenda. He will not even budge. That is serious and dangerous for our democracy. Dangerous for our democracy. If the courts are now being turned into an arena where political victimization will be executed, will be championed, that is serious for our democracy. And we have come a long way. And sometimes I'm surprised that His Excellency the President, who says that he's champion in protecting our rights, our civil liberties, he is the same president superintending over such unwarranted harassment of political opponents and of people with decent views. Ladies and gentlemen, when the state clothed with prosecutorial authority itself does not seek to curtail the liberty and incarcerate a suspect, what extrajudicial interest does the court have to do so on its own motion? This is judicial overreach. This is the bench executing political instructions from above. This offends the right to personal liberty under Article 14 and free expression under Article 21(1)(a). This is a judge aiding the executive to criminalize free speech and oppress dissent views. Media. The hypocrisy is nauseating. Several members of this government, including our sitting president, ministers, and appointees, such as Sam George, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, Sami Jamfi, Malik Basintali, have made far worse, reckless, and ethically divisive statements against the former president. Look, at a point, I was watching a particular video where the president himself said that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has empowered, and he mentioned names: Gabi Asaro Chedakun, Nana Asante Bediatuo, Bumpty, to steal. He has empowered them to steal for him, the president. He himself granted that interview. This coming from the president. I mean, one would have thought that, president, you stay somewhere in your corner. Let your elements do this kind of negative communication so that you will rather correct them. But the president himself said that His Excellency Nana Addo has empowered. He never directed from above that go and arrest Malik Basintali. In another video, he said that he Basintali knows, that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo grew up with gays. But when we post a picture of you in LGBTQ colors, expressing the fact that now it appears that you are supporting LGBT, because now he said it is not your priority again. If something is not your priority, it means it is not important to you. So he goes on his Facebook page, Baba Mando, and quickly you have to arrest him from Bono Region Sunyane, transport him all the way to Accra. And a certain political judge, without any application before him, decides to remand him. So we are asking this question. The NDC is not tolerant. President Mahama, you are not tolerant. Why would you empower the police to be criminalizing free speech? Can you recall the many cartoons the NDC orchestrated just to cause disaffection for the former president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the former vice president, who caused the arrest of these NDC elements? In fact, at a time, they even went on demonstration and they were chanting, Kunanado Maye, Radie Kunanado Maye, Ose Omano, Ose Omano, Kunanado Maye. God should kill Nana Addo for you. A certain journalist sat on radio, is it someone who talk also, said that Nana Addo through plane, until you know me will plane and crash it. No. Who arrested him? This someone who talk guy, who arrested him? This guy who called himself Raf entered a health facility, Ridge Hospital, threatened the lives of people, abusing the privacy of sick people. In fact, even when the minister put up a committee to investigate that matter, the guy did not even appear before that committee. He's walking free. He is walking free. We were in this country when somebody, a fake doctor, what was her name? Ann Sansasali or Ann Sansadali, this lady. He's been posturing herself as a doctor, holding TV programs, not knowing she was fake. And in fact, she had even secured an appointment to serve on the board of National Health Insurance Authority. She had received her letter. And just when it was exposed that she is actually a fake doctor, they had to revoke that appointment. Who arrested that lady? If you position yourself as a fake doctor, it's a criminal offense. Who arrested her? These are serious and grave issues. Friends in the media, President Mahama must leave a desirable legacy. President Mahama is destroying our democratic credentials. He has allowed state institutions to be weaponized, to be instruments of harassment, weapons of intimidation. This is not democracy. Baba Mando's shabby treatment by law enforcement agencies is not an isolated case. It is a pattern. And my boss, the General Secretary, mentioned a lot. We've suffered a lot under this government. And look, we will not be intimidated, trust me. The NPP, we are going to move with courage. This will not subject her to any form of intimidation. Never. Adenta Kumi will put something that he has evidence that some judges who were sitting on the Justice Tokunu matter, they are meeting some lawyers at a place. And just because he says that, early in the morning, you go and arrest this young man for what? Mohammed Zakor just posted. In fact, at the time when we were told as a nation that the vice president is not well and she was going to be on health leave, he posted that, rest well, Madam Vice President. This young man was arrested on Friday and he was released on Monday just because of this. Wouldn't to be FM journalist Achem Kwanana had said that President Mahama must answer to the calamity that occurred with the helicopter crash that killed 8 of our own brothers. He was arrested in a Joso, in a Rambo style. In fact, people who were at the scene said they were shocked. Meanwhile, someone who said that President Akufo-Addo should die in a plane crash, he was not arrested. TikTokers. I can see Fanti Comedy. Where is Fanti Comedy? TikTokers. Fanti Comedy. Nice guy, normal guy, doing his social media work. On TikTok, they were arrested. Because what? Because they expressed dissenting views. Because they were criticizing the government. And again, that will not intimidate us. Fanti Comedy is still doing his work. He will not be intimidated. Yaira, Ghana Jollof, others. Say Obama, my own brother say Obama posted something on social media and he was arrested. Where from this culture of intolerance? When did we get here as a nation? And Chairman Kwame Abronye. In fact, when I heard why he was being arrested, I was even sad that he has said that a certain judge is a political judge in Adenta. Hey, President Mahama, Ghana for being Subai. NDC labeled judges as unanimous FC. Unanimous FC. They call them NPP lawyers. And in fact, September 2nd, 2023, President Mahama, speaking at the closing ceremony of the 3rd Annual Lawyers Conference for the National Democratic Congress, stated categorically and accused President Akufo-Addo and his government of piling the judiciary with judges who are NPP judges. That is what President Mahama said. And today, Abronye is labeling a judge as a political judge. And what? You arrest Abronye for what? Is that how intolerant President Mahama you have become? You accused former President Akufo-Addo of so many things. Family and friends. Today, your own chief of staff is directing entities under him, Gold Board, for a contract of $1 million. And when it was exposed, arrogantly telling us, and so what? So his company must not work? This is a clear breach of your own code of conduct. President Mahama's own code of conduct. Some of the lies they churned out were so pathetic. Okujeto, by this standard, should be arrested. If we are saying that Baba Mando has been arrested because he published false news, false publication, and for that matter, he was arrested. Now, Ora is garbage. I'm not saying it. Domlebo is saying it. So if Okujeto fed the entire nation with garbage, then he must be arrested. Then he must be arrested. Now today, even Attorney General is saying that most of these things they peddled are all lies and mere allegations. Meanwhile, this oral received presidential attention. A committee was formed. Okujeto came to tell us that they were going to retrieve some 21 billion Ghana cedis. The president, in his last State of the Nation, said that they had retrieved 600 million Ghana cedis or so. And a young man, Kwesi filed RTI, requesting particulars, details of this 600. Do you know the response? Kwesi, come to Yoko with your Ghana card. You come personally. We want you personally. Come there. And when you come, you hand over your Ghana card to the Yoko boss, Raymond Dacha himself. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? You yourself, you are saying that you've retrieved some 600 million. We are asking you, give us the details. We deserve to know. We deserve to know. And a young man files an RTI, and this is the response from Yoko. Come with your Ghana ID card. And when you come, don't see anybody. Go and see Raymond Dacha himself. Are we joking? What exactly is the striking difference between Abronye's statement and that of President Mahama and many NDC elements who labeled judges, unanimous FC, NPP judges, called them names in this country? 2 opposition voices, 2 arrests, same day, same script, same law by the enforcement agency, same charge. This government is building a conveyor belt of political harassment and persecution. When you cannot win the debate, you jail the debater. Ladies and gentlemen, what has become, again I asked, of oral, it has become a persecution tool. Okujeto lied. He lied. The many allegations. In fact, I recall the former president's daughter who was running her legitimate business in Somunam restaurant. One of the finest restaurants you can get where you can get seafood. Okujeto said the president has handed over state property, state building to her daughter for such a venture. Meanwhile, it was a rented facility. You recall that the daughter of the former president, again, see the artworks, the beautiful artworks she led. It was private driven, private led. Not one CD came from the government. Yet they labeled, they lied, they peddled falsehood that government has allocated $25 million for the daughter of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to be doing artworks. And today, when you benefited from LGBTQ, sometimes my mouth gets full when I'm mentioning it. LGBTQ, okay. They benefited from it. They enjoyed political mileage out of it. Some judge staged demonstrations. In fact, when he staged that demonstration, he called Justice Tokunu names. Useless. Did Justice Tokunu, through the Judicial Secretary, file a petition at the police headquarters for some judge to be arrested? We have been told that the current Judicial Secretary petitioned the Ghana police for Abronye to be arrested. Why? Because he has labeled a certain judge as a political judge. And indeed, she's one. With the High Court 9, the Joseph Kunsun. Ladies and gentlemen, from the fourth estate of the realm, the government must immediately cease and desist the weaponization of law enforcement agencies and stop the harassment of political opponents. Look, you are in government to govern. If they do not want to govern, we will help them not to govern. If they don't want peace to govern, we will not give them peace to govern. If this undue harassment, if this weaponization of state institution against political opponent, if it is not checked, I can say that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, they are saints. If we look at the development, what is going on here, they are saints. They are saints. We also demand immediate review of this perverse remand order. The Chief Justice must also investigate this clear case of apparent political bias on the bench. And now to Yoko. We further condemn Yoko for the unlawful evasion. Yesterday we had an unfortunate news in Kumasi where Yoko invaded the residence of one of our elders, Ofa Maswo Kofi Juma, without a warrant, without his knowledge. And Yoko now has become a conveyor belt for political hatchet jobs. They broke into his house. Where from this? This is not the first time. Do not forget. that they did same to the former Bank of Ghana governor. They broke into his house, broke into all the rooms in there. They took some cars, left. Later they called him that they have left the cars on the beach road. So he should send drivers to come for the cars. You recall how they invaded the residence of former finance minister Ken Oforiatta, and later they came to apologize through the majority leader, Asana Yarega. The majority leader, Mahama Yarega, not Hassan Yarega, pardon. And this thing is going on. NDC and President Mahama has weaponized Yoko from selective arrest to midnight raids to media trials before court trials. He has turned a state institution into an opposition hunting grounds. Yoko answers not to law, but to political masters and the boss's own ego. Yoko has lost its credibility. Clearly, the president is in support of Yoko's lawless overreach, abuse of state power, disregard for rule of law, and using law enforcement as a tool for settling personal vendetta. The NPP views this development as yet another example of growing rise of state security apparatus to harass and silence dissenting views under the administration of President Mahama. The party is particularly concerned that this action raises serious questions about the state of free speech and civil liberties in the country. And to Judge Joseph Kunsun, your robe is not a party card. You are supposed to be an independent arbiter. What you exhibited yesterday was clear bias. And to the government of Ghana, we are not under dictatorship. Ghana is not a dictatorship. And to all of you who have been harassed, party communicators, former government appointees, ministers, people who are receiving threatened messages. We've seen a lot for the past 1 year. Journalists will speak and then they will come for him. You recall Paul Adumoche, God Nasari Bidiakon, Okatechi Frifa, all unwarranted arrests, baseless arrest. Why? Because their views are not the views of the government. Members of the press, the party believes that this incident constitutes a diversionary tactics aimed at shifting public attention away from pressing national challenges. Today, the president and the government is under intense pressure from the clergy, from religious leaders, traditional rulers, Ghanaians, that LGBTQ was a major priority for President Mahama. He enjoyed and gained electoral fortune from it. And they are insisting that he should come clear. Cocoa farmers are up in arms because in an unprecedented fashion, monies due them were unilaterally reduced drastically. It's never happened before. Now go to every cocoa growing area. They are crying. They are wailing. They are lamenting. This is the pressure. This is what the government must focus on. Rising cost of fuel, rising cost of transport, rising cost of living, implementation of the 24-hour economy that is supposed to see to it that Formula 133 is implemented. Now, what do we hear? Yes, Mungoye Indomie. Yes, Mungoye Indomie. A party that promised 24-hour economy and that they were going to create so much jobs that you have morning shift, afternoon shift, night shift. Today, this same government is telling you, the youth, that, hey, don't wait for government. Find your own way. Go and establish Indomie joint. Now, said the Indomie joint, you didn't establish it. And I had the abo and establish it. The young man who doesn't have money on him should go and establish 20 Indomie joints, according to the NDC. Because you cannot implement 24-hour economy. You are under pressure from the youth. Your own global info, yes, is saying that 78% of their youth are talking about youth unemployment. Doomsaw is gradually coming in again. It's back. Galamsey is worse under President Mahama. It's worse. Now it's free fall. It's worse. This is what we are expecting the government, President Mahama, to focus on. You have increased electricity by some 28%. You have increased water by some 18 or so percent. Now, recently, flights from Kumasi to Accra, something we were paying somewhere around 4,000 or so. Now, today, you need 6,000 Ghana cedis in and out. The Accra-Kumasi road is terrible. It's terrible. President Akufo-Addo started dual carriage construction, where you have all cars going to Kumasi in one lane, all cars coming from Kumasi in another lane. Today, they have abandoned that, and they are saying that they are constructing a certain fast lane, somewhere we don't even know, the assessment we don't even know, and just use the Accra-Kumasi road. It's terrible. A road that connects almost about 9 regions. Today, importers are crying. Go job also kind, they are crying. Businessmen are crying. The last time I heard Association of Ghana Industries, they are wailing. Manufacturers are crying because they are paying too much for electricity. Normal people like you, myself, we are crying. And this should be the focus, the prime focus of President Mahama. Yet, he has neglected that. He has abandoned that. And he is rather superintending over the weaponization of state security institutions to harass your opponents. Ladies and gentlemen, let me borrow the words from the General Secretary. And again, let me also borrow a statement, a quote from Osahin Alexander Afenyomakin. That thing that they cherish melts, and it melts with time. Today you have power, so you think you have the world. That thing, that power that you have, it is melting. By 2028, it would have vanished. NPP will be in power. So that thing that you so much cherish, it is going to melt, and it's going to melt with time. The NDC must focus on governing and delivering their failed promises. We are not going to be intimidated. This will not suppress us in any way. We are going to stand united. We are still going to expose this government of their lies, inconsistencies. As a party, we will not be perturbed. Thank you very much. Abusuafo any brother edema na mobesha yenu abako office nyane east Baba Mando ya branche mu a na no na police eto nsa de frɛ no sɛ omra sunyane ɔkɔ sunyane fo so omunim bibia omunim ho asɛm bia ka odisima kakra wɔ hɔ ofiri hɔ ano mo sai di mirika sa bɛfrɛ no ɛsade ne ba ɛsɛ ɔmanyanteɛ from Accra sɛ ɔmu hia no wɔnkran nti ɔmo nkye no ɔmo kye abrante ya brɔman ka asɛm bia nkyɛ no ade ne hyɛ kaa mu bɛɛ dɔnhwere nwɔtwe ade ne bɛduru nkran ɔmo de ne bɛduru nkran ɛna yɛkɔɔ hɔ party kɔɔ hɔ the minority leader ana de ne nsa hyɛ krataa ase emiagye bill ɛde ma no sɛ anopa the following day anopa no na waba ɔsa ya ntia enya ne sɛ yɛse orders from above ɔmomfa no nkɔ court 9 information nya no I must have specified some fan court 9. A dear ben common and now cost work court 9 huntia. Yes, I'm fan court 9. You no court 9. Abusan for a break could do court. Nami hobby. Osahin Alexander after your marking, and an ye lawyer penny and no Jina Odianim. Anna lawyer penny bakon, lawyer Nana J. Bafo, Menshia South MP. And so can be. Ye kodru ho na eye aposi fo omo de abrante ya ba court omo nka se omo hia abrante no nti yemfa abrante ne san ko twere aban kukum sans omo hia no ena omo nso a omo amfa asem bia nto court anim. Apart from that eye Osahini Alexander Afenyo Markin so no kasa yema ya branch ni bill so no. Justice Joseph Kunsun. Wan na hu asefem. Se ono ano afe na obusa nsem bi asa asem no kire se se mu hia branch no kwa mesi mu hia no. Na afi ase na ni ayenyan. Because ni odi asem no be dan wo no. Ni obokwa edu no ono na grant bill dada wa ma branch ni bill dada bill na ode man on ka se wo se hia ni biem se nko hia ni biem anko ba court no ka kan nkrata anko de ba ye ho se wo se hia no ti court e mesre mo san fo ne nko twere aban kukum na yentimi nya investigation ana ebi mo kra nsan ka se Baba Mando so no eye nhwehwemu omo ye no or the home of a for him. And no, Yafan Cochri Mansa, San Ebeya, on to home for the Oman Cancer. And so Justice Joseph Kunsun say, no Busa Omo question. Eti Abrante Mu Hiano Kra. And now, prosecution oh, as and when. Because Oba, Yatun Safran Oba, Nipemu Yatun Safran ko, Sunyane, and on one Finipim Koe, and yes, old Johnny, on call baby. Afe yan kwotebeti a judge say okay se mu hia no mama no remand onko dem no nsam na 20 how efa na se mu bisi ye ni ono no ye investigation no nga se o hia no ba judge anya wo na wo ye investigation so chinchira anya hia ne temfa no kwotwe aban kokum na court na ho na no bibi koso ho no o si ebusa ho kra na mbeka ya judge bi e de abronya ko nanim Judge na some okoka and say, oh, although constitution ne say ye nyina equal before the law. But in practice, ye nyina na equal before the law bia. Hey! Constitution na can Article 17 na can very clear. Say all of us we are equal before the law. Sir, judge no can say. Debi enye nyina na ebi mu so chen ebi. Owie no so de asa de animal farm sa ba mu. Owie no kofa Idi Amin. Such a dictator. At the ba mu. Ghana for brim na. Sa court na hoye na asemu isa kusi ho no. Hoye na asem sa kusi ho. Na and some near bay nyina ne ye hu bibi se Yera Mahama ni NDC. Edie ben sempa no man kanfa NPP aban Yera Kufuado ene Yera Baumia ho. Nsembe no man kanfa ho. Sam George eka se wo to aba e dia ma Baumia dia ene napo na nim se wo to se abase because omo de omo ha for the gay sem ne ade ade. Adia Baba Mando ye ene se ene president to buy wo se LGBTQE wo no oba be sensan munya mu mfasode na brantie no ekoye e no de LGBTQ policy odi adware mu kama e no odi akoto social media so ene motiko apai na ade a onya mu mfaso no ene oba ya ye mu adwuma no so wonye na wonye na se obi ka tro se ne ka me ko se mo fofo so de a ene otiko apai ama makwa kochi abrantie e de na kwa kotum na niemu owrem ne se utie eye enkomo NDC fo di ye minia asefem se ye kan se obi pedo falsehood a ni ye kan obi osem ko dem a okuje to osem ko dem by now okuje to be ka kire se enkofo awie aban sika ye betimi agye sika ne be 21 billion Ghana cedis. And then Domlevo ka committee will be say and your man okuje to Kenya no do na ebola. Na ebola garbage. Attorney General pricing him no Kenya na busum allegations in Kobi anim in so be anyinem. But he's a minister of state. So if you can arrest somebody for publishing or peddling falsehood and you cannot arrest okuje to ablakwa and the many others omo din tro ke kan sema kese Malik Basintali etimi koye Facebook post former vice president ekura ensa won ensa baakum no say ekura eye preko pork won ensa baakum when you know say eye haram for a Muslim when na kwache no sabre na yewura Baumia eye chairman for police council. Why no kasi yam kocheno? San said we never wanted to criminalize free speech. And now bring a judge or Adenta, her honor, Angela Aseyi Atachi. Also, your political judge. And the NDC for Tikapai. Judicial Secretary Martis, yes, or petition, CM Kochabonye. Judicial Secretary. Eti na wo krom ha anase one teda se NDC forecast say mu judges for mu ye unanimous FC omo mo ke mu huru mu e kan say mu ye NPP judges one teda ada na kosi gebe pa na kosi na former President Mahama na mu ebra na ope eye omampani adi nsem o kan kwa na ehu ono amu ka se na nado danko Akufuado ena ama ni nuanom tumi Gabi na santibedi etuo bounty se omunwia Ghana sika emfama no tio omunwia Ghana sika president Namukai. Journalists will come and say, yes, friend, hotels and one. It's not radio stations, Hoto FM. eka sese nanado efu plane no okwa onwu plane mbe hwe fom no onwu ana kwachi no NDC for a demonstration no mpeni for didi ani mo moto nwom kuna na do ma ye urade kuna na do ma ye anado obenyina chese anado nyame be hira ne se sanyu mo nwom to okuma hwan na kwachi wo atro ensam kasa nanado baba yatam aban abusua ajapa ene ade amano aban ajapa de ene ade amano na ono do ye ni business enye no kure no renti nanado baba yamano 25 million so from penti ye overpass ne where ye nyina no enye no kure one city grind work on ni nyane account ni eko why na kwachiri obi enne President Mahama epese odi ohaw atete any strobishem ensida no we are going to be strong a bit giant now so enya de besida na say you almost say to me and I'm playing the kaswa and omoboa eno de omoboa na ye kan ye nsem a ye kan fa na nad na busuafo ho enne president Wow, chief of staff, who code of conduct are the buyer. Aqua contract, the company, our interest to contract $1 million. And teacher will come in your phone. He said, our code of conduct, you know, I send you what team. I send you what team. It's of no effect. Nene, Adia Mehunisa and Niama Air Coast War Ghana. Ama NDC for under intense pressure. And LGBTQE, I suffer the pressure, Guya Ramahamaso. Traditional rulers, they're good so, Oba Oba catch say, who, I deal with Oba Oba sign. Chief Imam for their good so, and no more pressure, and no more DB, a person will this arrest. Not at the attention if free handsome. Coco Cafo soon, almost a kayatiso. From 3,600 about 2,500. Every cocoa farmer is wailing. Obi a Tiniswo, Obi a Chejadwo, Obi a Raho. And no one here by you. Basi ya kwachi Obi na fisu nyane. And na bankrai. Not Justice Joseph Kunsum. Ebe ya NDC for Ejuma. Si mfanu nkotumu ena yomode. Cocoa farmer na osu. Yena na nomro wafo omusu. No, the woman. And the Galam say, now ye cantanta ye bassa. Now, Attorney General, Edicata, the command, Yoku, Sir Joseph Yami, any Abanga, NDC First Vice, any national organizer, Omia Galam saying to him, one your report be what? Report to us. To be no what to answer. To be no what to answer. And Mabunenam. NDC mabunu nam and no close shops and Minerals Commission near 2 NHIS near 2 near to 2 in Yemen. Obia no to our question. And then nurses a year Juma in Tiomoka a bit of fear in Tim for Majumum who could boost a health minister or say near Homberson Befa education minister or no say near Homberson Befa. And did not promises of Ghana for Mabuno Jumano. Now we can't 24-hour economy. No. It's not Indomie. Nana be catch almost woman could be. Say, the Mabun could be Indomie. Now you be Indomie between your 200 Ghana city soon. Okay, Cambomoa between your 20,000 at Pacoyade. Sasami, no more catcher in there. And the Mabun more pressure. Or more pressure. It's a near man who here also Mujano. And then electricity bill, Namso would be a come, would be a bill, be say Janice will send boat. Mobile, yeah, you want to BBM. 1 city, they are 2 petrol so. And Yamukania, you pay them to 28%. And you bear 18%. Okwabo so can taxes on Mutia first, 4% here, you pay them to call 20%. And then so also Kokumasi, hey, Yaba. First, Nanka Wutia, Plano, in and out. To bear 3,000, 4,000 out, and then 6,000. Unia Untiminko. Basses Yatutum, Sasha Water Mututum. Bibi akoso nti eno na wo sa aban ne nani hwe. No ma Ghana for hu ha omo no. Baba Mando no ti sunyane. Abrancho no ti sunyane no. Ene wo tuka ase enkofa ne mra nkan. Na obenya Justice Joseph Kunsun. So te court 9. Say unhiano me de nebetum. Can you imagine? Unhiano ye me de nebetum. Ene adia ye te ho. Mesre media for. Toda momma sa no kwa wenyan daddy. No muntimi mfa obi anu. Ghana no se unya overwhelming majority in parliament. Na Ghana for trouble no. Yantom Ghana ma o. Eye entro na wo bedi tire Ghana for no. Eno bi ene bi gidi ye ene kwoto abade ma o. Ena omo na omo gidi ye ne se omo akwan so se pa ba. Timisre aban se wo pese wo nya asumdue na udi bu oban na ene toje wa se wo mpa asumdue nso a ene ye beboa so wo nya asumdue sa ne mai koso a ye be ma ye homene so. We are not going to be intimidated. We will not allow any politically motivated harassment. Sabe Ghana no nyeso bi medi supen o. Bia medi supen. Munya kan sema mo pensema kese, sema hodo ke kan sem gu nipa so, obi anya mo hwe. Obi enu aye chi no. Ene obi ti wa so do akochi no. Obi ti wa so do akochi no. Timese media for. We ni adetitiri wa na e frem bai.
If bail is granted, the accused person would interfere in investigation. This is a country we find ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I am again appealing to my Lord Bafu Boni, our respected head of the judiciary, to watch some of these practices. It is sad, oh, a year ago, the Air Coast of Ghana, a year ago, said judge who comes into a court with his mind already prejudiced, he's made up his mind, and even when there is no application for detention, he says that for him the accused would interfere. The man has been reporting to the police. When the police needed him, he was there, and the police themselves attested to that.